All right, we are live again from the California MBA Mortgage Innovators Conference. I know you guys are sick of me notifying you guys, getting the notification we're doing this, but we have great interviews, great thought leaders, great vendors, great partners, everybody in between. A lot of great content here. So I got Sanjay here from WikiRealty. Sanjay, how you doing, my man?
Good, man. How are you, Jason?
Dude, I'm doing awesome. Just getting all these interviews done and just loving the people I'm talking to, getting more information about this. How are you liking the conference so far?
Oh, man, the conference has been great. Met a lot of great people. I just listening to what's going on in the industry as a whole, it's very exciting and a lot of opportunities for real estate professionals today.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's one thing we've talked about this already. It's been a great conference. Just heard it again. Every interview person that I've had on here has been very complimentary. And again, shout out to the California MBA for putting on such a great event, especially with their debut event. It's been
fantastic.
Great. Yeah, and so Sanjay, we got a chance to meet. We got connected. Chuck Iverson, the chair of this event. He introduced us over email. We got to meet yesterday and spend some time together looking at your product, which I thought was really cool.
Thank you.
I think
Appreciate
it's definitely different than a lot of stuff that I have seen out there.
I love to hear that.
And I've seen a lot. So why don't you tell us a little bit about WikiRealty, how you got going, and the problem that you're solving?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think just sort of put some context on this conversation, just by way of background, as we talked about for 23 years, I was a real estate lawyer by education, real estate developer. Don't hold any of that against me.
Yeah.
I developed a lot of real estate. Our family business developed a lot of real estate across, all asset classes from Wisconsin all the way down to Florida. So just have a real deep understanding of the real estate industry. And, post Lehman Brothers bankruptcy, it was really interesting to see what was happening in the industry, right? Consumers were starting to take matters in their own hands, trying to get more sort of due diligence done on their own before they connected with a real estate professional. Then you had Zillow sort of taking off, Facebook taking off, and all these large tech companies that were candidly going directly to the consumer. And as a longtime real estate guy, I thought, real estate is always going to be about connecting consumers to the local professionals. It's not real estate is not a linear transaction, right? So there's always going to be nuances, and consumers need good real estate professionals, whether you're a realtor or a loan officer, to help them guide through that process. And I watched realtors and loan officers trying to figure out these online channels, and it was difficult because for 100 years, it's not what they did, right? Nobody really thought they'd have to figure out online channels. So we really developed WikiRealty as a way for local real estate professionals, really enabled them with a tool to sort of compete with these large tech giants that were going directly to the consumer. So in terms of how we do that, our strategies revolve really around hyper-local lifestyle content. Because if you think about it, the home is really just a part of the decision-making process, right? Where you live affects, a variety of factors, from where your kids go to school, where you shop, your friends. So that neighborhood component is probably just as, if not more important than the asset itself. But the problem is trying to gather that neighborhood information is a very disparate process. So we kind of approach both sides of the equation. We help consumers sort of understand what the neighborhood dynamics are about, and at the same time we brand local real estate professionals, realtors and loan officers around that hyper-local neighborhood information, and then by way of doing that we kind of connect the two together. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it makes sense to me, and so everyone, look, I know it's easy for us to talk, and we got deep into this yesterday. I got to check out the demo of the product. So one thing, just so you all know, is that we are going to be having Sanjay and WikiRealty on the Shred Effect show, so you can get like a real in-depth look of everything that you guys are doing. But I will say what I like about what I saw is because everyone knows that I hate canned crap. I hate canned content. It doesn't help anybody. I like how some people will say that something is better than nothing. In some cases, that's true. When it comes to the content, it's not. Something is not better than nothing. Sometimes nothing is better than something, especially when that something sucks, right? So what's cool about what I saw about you you is that, and this is something that we talk about in the Shred Mastermind and something that we talk about on the Shred Marketer podcast and part of our coaching group and everything else, is that hyper-local content is what's going to set you apart from not just from the competition, but from fintech and online lenders as well, because they can't do that at scale, but you can. And so the loan officers and real estate agents that have deployed this have seen great lift and great results in doing that hyper-local content. And that is where, to me, and again, I know you guys do a lot of stuff, but to me, that is where WikiRealty really stands out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, at the end of the day, consumers don't want to be sold, right? Like you said, they hate seeing ads. Real estate is still about forming trust and relationship. And in our minds, and we're hearing this over and over again at the conference, the goal of every real estate professional, whether you're a loan officer or a realtor, is how do I get to the consumer first?
Yes.
Right? And how do you get to the point where, you are seen everywhere by the consumer, so that, whether they're on Facebook or organically, on doing searches on Google, you are seen everywhere. And that's where you need to get, right? You need to get to that point. And as you said, we do that around hyper-local content. And just to expand on the concept of what is hyper-local content. As you know, a lot of real estate professionals put out this stuff like, hey, loan rates are up or loan rates are down, or check out this kitchen, right? I mean, as you know, people don't really like that stuff. It's boring. And, I had an interesting call with a real estate professional the other day. They said, I spend $100 on this post and I got no business out of it. And I said, well, what was the post about? And they said, well, it was about this new loan program. And I said, well, you took content that in general the consumer wasn't really that interested in, exactly out of the box, and you spent money to get it in front of more people that weren't interested in it. And the light bulb kind of went off. And I said, what you got to do is tell them what's going on in the neighborhood. And that's what we do. You sign up on WikiRealty and you pick a market, and we then create content that consumers care about, neighborhood content like, hey, if you're moving to Tustin in Irvine, here's a great organic grocery food store that opened up, or here's a great park to take your family on the weekends. That's meaningful content that consumers want and need. And believe it or not, even if you're not looking for a home, it might be in your backyard and you might not even know about it. So consumers appreciate that. And because it's hyper-local, it gets a tremendous amount of engagement. People are liking it, they're sharing it, they're commenting on it. And as you know, those are all opportunities for real estate professionals to step in, have a conversation, invite them to sort of like their business page and bring them into your ecosystem. And that's the start of any business relationship.
Yeah, and it's true, and it's something. Look, I hope everyone was like, "Oh, well, geez, that's a lot of like what Jason talks about all the freaking time." Like, yeah, getting to the consumer first wins, right? Getting the consumer first, but also that content that they actually care about. Nobody is going on Facebook looking for stupid loan programs. What they're looking for is interest-based content. And Sanjay and I talked about this last night about what you like, what they love, and where they live. That's what interests them. So your content focuses on that, and then once they're a part of that, then you could throw something in there. You don't boost crap that they're not interested in. You boost the stuff that they are interested in, and you guys are solving that problem by writing hyper-local content. And if I'm not mistaken, this content that you're writing isn't reproduced for other people. It's specifically for that agent or loan officer.
That's exactly right, and thanks for pointing that out. And because it is lifestyle related, there are a myriad of things to write about, right? You know, parks, organic grocery food stores, health clubs, whatever it might be. And so we don't give the same content to any two real estate professionals at any time, even if they're in the same market. We have multiple loan officers, multiple realtors on our platform, all in the same market. They all get their own specific content, which is another reason why it performs so well on the engagement side.
Yeah. And it's true because, and the cool thing is people are like, because I always talk about look, the content's not hard to find, but obviously the time of actually going through and writing it and curating and doing whatever, but you're writing, you're not doing that. You're writing, looking at what's trending and writing the content to fix or to match with that. But here's the deal is look at this, is you're having a content writers. You're doing your content. You, as a loan officer, could take some of that content itself and repurpose that.
Exactly.
You could repurpose that yourself, talk about it, do a live video about it. You could actually have the information to talk about. So they're almost like just doing research for you on top of producing that content, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And we've had a very really interesting story. Like we did some content for a loan officer in Kentucky about a new cafe that opened up.
Yep.
The owner of the cafe actually saw the post and shared it on the cafe's business page, and the cafe had 10,000 followers. So can you imagine that? Think of the exposure that loan
Yeah.
officer just got above and beyond what we were doing, right?
Yeah.
So the power of this is just unbelievable. It's exponential. And once again, it all boils down to giving consumers what they want, which is information that they care about. And that's what's going to keep you sort of top of mind.
Yeah.
So that even if they're not ready today, when they are ready or when their friends are ready, they're going to think about you.
Yeah, and it's the right mentality to have. It's something that we preach all the time at Shred Media. But not only this, but guess what? This is coming from your social media account. It's not coming from their social media
Correct.
account. It's coming from yours, and that's where I was also. I mean, not to mention everything you're also doing was great, good stuff. But I was thinking, okay, well, it's going to be coming from your stuff. No, it's coming from your account. So then you could build that audience based off of engagement, and
Correct.
then use that to even further your content and your marketing strategy as a whole.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, so WikiRealty is a platform that works in the background. The content starts there and is auto posted to all of your social media, and then we programmatically run targeted ads so your content is getting in front of even more people outside of your immediate network, people that are generally interested in real estate. And as they're clicking through and reading that content, they're clicking back to WikiRealty, but it looks like your site because we white label the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so they feel like they're looking at, Jason Frazier's website, branded to him with his logos, and they're clicking through, reading other content, and guess what? Jason's logo and branding stays. And as they scroll down the page, oh look, there's property listings.
Yeah.
Because we also have property listings across the country, over almost 1.7 million plus listings and growing that are updated every day. So we are now giving loan officers the ability to be branded around property listings as well.
Yeah, and that's great. And I think, Sanjay kind of spit out something just real quick and didn't really focus on it. But yes, ads are included. Ad spend is included.
Yes, that's right.
And so you're running ads. You're not just doing the content, but you're also running ads based off of the audiences you're creating and who's more likely to be a possible customer.
Yeah, that's right. And thanks for pointing that out, too, because what we realized in the industry, I appreciate that. What we realized is that, look, as real estate professionals, you're all busy doing what you do best, which is selling. So you want something that's going to basically take over all these functions for you, and that's what we've done. We've fully automated the entire process so that we like to say we bring the consumer to the 5-yard line. All you have to do is pick up the ball and have the conversations, which is really what you're used to doing anyway. It's what you do offline, but just now do it online.
Yep.
And candidly, if you need some help with taking over those conversations, we have best practices that will tell you what to do. When somebody shares your comment, don't just ask them to if they're interested in a home, start a conversation with them. Like, hey, thanks for liking my post. I'm going to be posting these neighborhood updates regularly. Would love for you to follow my business page because a lot of my past clients find this information valuable. That is sort of best practices, how you build that trust and that relationship.